Hello, everyone. Hi, Robin.
Hi, Heidi.
Hi. So today we have a couple of viewer questions that we're going to try to hit.
Mhm.
Our topic today is going to be about why things are happening the way they are happening in our universe or in our lives.
Mhm.
And we'll get started off with the first question, which is why is it sometimes that money or happiness or anything that you like to flow towards you um, is flowing very well, and other times out of nowhere it seems like that flow is cut off? Why would
Yeah.
that be?
Mhm. We're going to talk a little bit, Heidi, about the podcast that we did, the last one, yes, where we talk
Mhm.
about the pre-planned life that you're living in. And then as you are living in the present moment, you are planning or shaping and forming, let's use that term, the life you will be living in the future, you see. So you're really a combination of many things. You are one that has created the life you are in past lives, yes, and you are one that is now creating the life you will be in the future, you see. And when are you doing it? You're doing it in your present moment, you see. Every one of you humans come here with a life plan, whether you know it or not. And sometimes it seems a little familiar to you. You will start to recognize people along the way on your journey. Perhaps there is a husband or something, someone you meet for the first time, and you just know that they will be part of your life, or there is a knowing that you feel very comfortable around them, like you've known them before. And then other times it'll be activities. There will be certain things that you will feel in your body, even though you don't know how to do them in this life. They'll feel very familiar to you, or like something that you either are going to feel or have felt before. And this is the basis or the reason for that. It is because all of these lives that you are living presently, past, and even in the future are all being created by you, for you, with those that you are in experience with, and they are doing same, you see. So if you take the life plan and you add that to these difficulties or life choices that you are talking about, then any number of things could be happening, you see. Perhaps one is feeling victimized, let's use that term, and they keep having experiences. Perhaps they get dumped by somebody over and over again. They lose a job that they think they really like and wanted to have and cannot understand why it has happened. So this is the basis or the reason we would tell you, because you are here as an evolutionary creative being that is wanting to perfect or gain the life experience and get the life really that you want to get. And you are going to have to overcome some of these trials and tribulations or tendencies that you have. So perhaps we use the description of a victim, someone that goes right to victimization. We have often said this is the poison we wish you would never swallow, because it's a very stifling energy. And it is where you start to blame outside circumstances and situations for what is going on in your life, instead of being the one that is responsible for them and being the creator of them. And so something might happen in your life where you are tested, where you have a choice to make now. Will I fall into victimization by what it has occurred to me, by what has been taken from me that I really didn't see why it should be taken from me? So now I can choose to feel victimized, or can I realize that I have a tendency to do this and decide to choose differently and move into my power and transcend this energy, so that it's not part of my future anymore, or part of the life creations that I will be having after this life is complete, you see. So there's a lot of things at play. This gives you a little bit of an idea. And we would say that, yeah, you're here to have a good time. You're here to be joyful. You're here to learn that you can create and see and form what it is you can create. But you're also here to work on these things now, whether they're relationship problems, whether they are victimization problems, whether you are in fear about your health or about money, whatever it is. And it could be yours. It could be ancestry. We are making that notation to you so that you can understand that many things could play into this. But you do have this plan, and you are working on these things. And so in answer to your question, it was a long way around, you're getting presented with opportunities, not victimizations, in order for you to see yourself in these different ways, and then to decide, instead of to contract, instead of to go into negativity, that you can choose. Here it is again. You can choose to be a master. And I know we keep repeating this over and over again, but we think it is important that we give you this understanding, because what are we doing? We receive a charge of energy from you, and we choose to elevate it to the high vibratory level in which we are in a part of, you see. But you as a human have the same ability. If you implement the high part of yourself, you can now choose the experience lesson. I got this thing I didn't like, but boy, what I learned from it. I am not moving to victimization. I'm going to own it. I'm going to step into my power, and I'm going to transcend this energy. And this will be the last time that I experience that. And that's really what you're doing here.
Okay. So if you are experiencing good things flowing to you, and then suddenly you go into bad things and your good things stop flowing, what does that indicate to you?
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Because people are talking about circumstances again, and we are going to tell you what we've always told you. Take the circumstances out of the equation. There's nothing that's coming to you that you are not somehow a part of or connected to. You may not see it right away, but whatever emotion or thing that you move to when you have an experience is the reason you're having the experience. The only reason you would feel something that you would deem as negative is because the way you are thinking surrounding a circumstance or situation between you and you, between the high self and you, have differing opinions. So you might think, I lost all my money, I'm victimized, what am I going to do? I'm going down the rabbit hole, yes? And then your high self pulls apart, yes? And you start to feel very negative. That communication that you're having is not confirming that the experience is in fact true. It's confirming that the way that you are thinking is going to cause separation and cause you to not achieve or get what it is one out of the life experience you're having. You are on a contrasting plane. It is part of this earth plane that you live on. That's never going to change. So there are going to be things that are out of your control. There are going to be things that are in your economy, that are in your financial markets and world. These are things that are very influenced by mass consciousness. We did another recording today. We hope you listened to it because we feel it was a good one, where we talked about streams of consciousness and what are they? They are people in bunches, yes, everybody looking at something and agreeing to it and deciding that this is the way that it is and becoming fearful of it and adopting that as a belief. And once they do that, now they have added this to their universe, and now they are streaming. They are in this stream of consciousness with all these other people who have chosen this way of thinking, you see, and they've given up their sovereignty, and now they feel victimized by it. The markets are terrible. I'm going to lose all my money. And they gather together with all those that are thinking the same, and now they are all stuck in the current of the same thing. All the while they're feeling awful. Why are they feeling awful? Because this is the inevitable truth? No, not really, but it is the inevitable truth if you decide to adopt it as so, you see. And that is what you are being notified by the negative emotion you're having. Get out of that way of thinking. Create for yourself. Decide what you really want. Don't agree with your masses. You can sometimes. Maybe it would be advantageous to you to agree with someone that loves the greens, someone that loves the organic food. You just enjoy it. You love it. You love it, love it, love it. Yes, this is fine. Now you are flowing in love state, and this will yield you something that is good for you, that you are wanting to have. But is it that it's true? No, it isn't. It's true because you've adopted it as such, you see.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess then what I surmise from that is when things are flowing to you, you are in alignment. And when you get to a point where there's stuff drying up or things appearing in your environment that you don't want, it's because there's an area that you're being alerted to.
Well, it's an area that you can pick and choose. It's an area where you can think, am I maybe moving in a direction that isn't right? Is the universe trying to notify me that this isn't working anymore? Or maybe I should go somewhere else, try something else. Yes. What is the gem in this? What can I find? Why am I being notified in this way? And instead, when you just view the negative experience and go with the negativity of it, of course, you are going to feel terrible because the high self is letting you know that that way of thinking is actually going to yield you something that you don't want, you see. But the minute you start to soften it, the minute you start to talk to yourself a little bit and then state what you really want. Yeah, I know the markets are down. Everybody's experiencing some problems right now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the universe for opportunities, circumstances, and things that could come to me that could actually yield me what it is I am wanting, instead of throwing up my arms and getting in that stream of consciousness with all the other negative thinkers and then riding that stream to their demise with them.
Okay. All right. So with this next question, I'm not sure if the answer will be the same, but we're going to ask it anyway. So why do we choose something that in the moment feels right, feels like something we're going to be happy and excited with and satisfied with, and then when we receive it, all of a sudden we're not so sure we're happy with it and we're not so sure we're satisfied. Why does that occur?
Because it is not the thing that is making you happy. It was the decision you made to be happy. Yes. As you say, you purchased a new home, you decided to move to a new area. Yes. And you were very excited about it. And you were thinking all kinds of good things. I will get some new furniture. I will have trees to look out outside my window. Perhaps I will have a water view, something I don't have right now. And then you are adding all these things that are making it exciting, even influencing your decision to do so, you see. But then you get there, and then perhaps maybe a couple things in your personal life don't go quite the way that you had hoped or expected, and you have a little problem at work, and you get a little fear around the amount of money that's coming in to pay for that view, for that house that you wanted to have. And so what you're doing now is now you are accessing or getting into the things that are in your universe that you have admired, or not, I shouldn't say admired, or focused upon, yes, that were maybe not to your advantage. And so what happens is everything starts to get questioned. Everything that felt good doesn't feel good anymore, because you're not feeling good about the decision anymore, because all of the things that assisted you in supporting that, your job, your good feeling state that you were in, those were all of the things that were the determining factor for leading one into that decision to perhaps move or buy a place such as this. But then we want to reiterate again that as you get the thing that you want and you get in there, then you move from that elevated state that got you there into the real life state of, there are some problems again. Yes, there are some arguments going on within your families. There is some trouble at work that make you worry about paying for the home. So now you get back into life. You come back out of what we would call la la land, and you realize that it really isn't the house that made you happy. It was your state of being that made you happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Yeah. So when we, I'm assuming, I think we've discussed this before, that before we come into our human experience, we have kind of a life plan in mind, what we maybe want to work on or what we're here to do. And my question is, does everyone have multiple phases to that plan, or do some people come in with, this is my goal, I'm working on this, or are there phases? Like I would say for me and for Robin, there was the kid phase and being a mother, and then there was, I don't know what phase I would say in the middle, and now there's this phase where we're working together on these projects and we're starting to do more things for our personal growth. And I'm just wondering if that's the case for everybody, or is it individualized?
Just to clarify a bit more, Heidi, are you more asking, are things coming up randomly? Is this the question? Or are they more detailed in the planning of them and they're just unfolding?
Yes, I guess I'm asking more if they're more detailed in the planning, like
yes,
if we put this
they
together.
are so detailed. Yes. And it is one of the reasons why we did the recording, and Robin had this very uncanny feeling. She has talked to you about it before, about the tennis. Yes. How she, when she was dating Dave, her husband, this was nearly was 46 years ago now, she would tell him, we have to go hit tennis balls at the park. And he would say, well, why? We don't know how to play. And she'd get very frustrated because she would swing as though she was a professional player. Of course, the ball didn't go like a professional. It would fly right over the fence, and he would become aggravated with her for doing this. But what really happened there, because she couldn't understand the urge and the desire and the feeling in her body, was as though she should be able to do this, but yet she could not. She had not learned it yet, you see. And so it was it kind of came together for her. When her children were born, it was very important to her that they get instructed how to play tennis. They both became good tennis players and started at an early age. And she was never able to do this. They were running their family business at the time. But all the while, she would drop them off and think, that looks so much fun. Yeah, it looks like a really good time to me. And then her children left the home in her 40s, and they went to college. And then they had a couple of tennis pros that moved to town, and Robin decided to take lessons. She actually forced her husband into it too, you see. And then as they retired, they went to this tennis community where they played tennis every single day. It was part of their life, brought them a great amount of pleasure and enjoyment, you see. And so the point we are trying to make by telling you this story is that that was planned. That was already in the experience or going to be part of it. And so this knowing of it, or leaking in, actually in her connective state, we would say she was connected a bit. This is how it came to her. She could feel it in her body. And it was not just that. She recognized her husband on the first day that their classes changed. And she actually told him, they were just young, 13. And she said, you don't know it yet, but you will be married to me one day, you see. He was very surprised to hear this at 13, and kind of rolled his head a little bit. But lo and behold, this is what occurred, you see. So what we are trying to tell you that is, if a human has this awareness, now that we have given it to you, or maybe you have already known it, you can get more and more detail and start to pay attention a little bit about how you feel surrounding certain activities and circumstances, people, and you will start to recognize as you have this recognition, or even an asking, if you desire to know more about the life that you are living and what it will lead you to, as you ponder things, the universe wants to answer. It is like going to school. The teacher is there, yes, and you ask questions, and hopefully she will give you the answer to what it is you are asking. It is the reason for being there. And we would tell you that the universe isn't a whole lot different than that. It is an energy source that is full of details, full of answers and fulfilling information. And that just by one pondering and one asking and one being in that wondering state, they can start to access, and the more connected you are, the better you feel, yes, the more information you can get on any given topic. But we are kind of rambling and giving you the long way around again, but to be clear to you, Heidi, it would stagger you to know the detail in which these lives are planned. It's great detail. Yes.
That's interesting.
It is not necessarily a phase. It does not necessarily mean this is the time to get married. This is the time to have the child. This is the time to retire. Doesn't really mean that. That will all vary a little bit. But the experiences and then the emotive responses that you will have to these, perhaps you or even your lineage, these are the things that are your free will, or the thing that you have a choice around. And these are the things that are actually going to form the upcoming life and even the present life that you are in, based upon what you will choose. And it's one of the reasons we've been bringing this up a lot lately, is we want to really teach you to understand that you have this choice. And many people say, well, it's so hard, I'm feeling negative, I'm feeling hurt, I'm feeling the contrast, I just can't do it. And we said it is so much easier to pick something that feels better than it is to stay in hard. Why you will not throw in the towel to that, why you will not believe us when we tell you this, and why you will not go in the direction that feels good, so that you can have less and less contrast in your future. And we're going to tell you something, that's exactly what's going to happen. That's what's coming. When we've talked about 5D reality, we know we're all over the map today, but really what we're talking about is humans realizing they're the picker, they're the chooser. And when you start to do this, contrast is going to become a less effective thing. When this density level rises, because a human becomes in their power, in their source, and starts choosing in positivity rather than negativity, they're not going to feel bad very often anymore. And the contrast is going to have less and less influence over them. And guess what? When you have less contrast and has less influence over you, now you can start to receive and achieve things at a much faster rate. And you can materialize and form what you're wanting and what you meant to do as the gods that you are, you see.
So you kind of gave us a little brief, I was going to ask that as my next question, but you kind of covered it a little bit as far as what you mean by asking. And you say, ask your high self for the lesson so that you're not victimized.
Yes.
Thought that was an important thing.
Or whatever it is that you are resisting or opposing, you see, because there's always something there to be gained by it. We don't care what it is. There is a higher choice, a higher level of consciousness that can be chosen, that is going to form you or recreate you in the life you're in, and then in future lives to less suffering. But you have to do it. And this is what is happening as the plane is elevating. What is elevating is consciousness, and what is consciousness is chosen thought. That's what it is. You can choose to follow the negativity, and you can flow in that stream of consciousness and feel miserable and then create and form things that you're not liking. Or you can elevate your consciousness and choose in the higher realm of thinking and raise your vibratory level, and then also receive in form what it is you are wanting. you see. And that's all that's going to happen in this shift that's coming. It's this very gradual understanding I create by the way I choose to think about the experiences I'm having, not by how they feel and not by how I'm justifying them, how I am deciding to embody them as source.
Yes. Yes. And so that's kind of what you mean by free will. It's you choosing how to feel and not you necessarily thinking I, as a physical human, can make this change. It's just
Yeah.
you choosing to feel differently.
Many will get a little bit confused with free will. We think that maybe they thought they can be Marilyn Monroe or they can be a runway model when perhaps they're 80. Of course, this is not something you can control with your free will. All you can control with your free will is the way that you pick and choose on how you feel about any given situation or circumstance, and therefore the outcome of your life will be different and better for it. You see, that is your free will, and that is the change that you make. But the plan is in place, but the plan can be a lovely plan or a painful plan, depending on how you choose.
Yes. Yes. In one of your recent podcasts, you kind of talked again about streams of consciousness
Mhm.
and how we as humans have our sovereign view and that we
Mhm.
have to perceive our own truth.
Yes,
And you said that, if you love it, if you're doing it from love, there's nothing wrong with saying, oh, I'm eating this green or I'm eating this because I love to do it.
right.
But following it from fear is not to your advantage. Do you want to discuss that a little bit?
Yes. Many humans will read your studies. Perhaps it is on health, the way that a person should eat or exercise or drink or not drink, whatever it is, you see. And then they, as their basis, instead of deciding to do something because they love it, it feels good to them. They are agreeing with the high part of it. I think we used the example. You love to think of people on these little farms growing their own vegetables, loving it, putting the love into the food. It is important, we would tell you, caring about it. And then now I care about it. So I choose it and I love it. I like the way that it looks. I like the way that I look when I eat it. And now you are agreeing with a stream of consciousness that is in positivity about this wonderful, organic, pure, clean way of eating, you see. And then there is another way that a human can choose. I have to eat this. If I don't, I will become sick. If it is grown not in the right soil, it will contaminate me. Yes. So you can see the different road or the different stream of consciousness we are headed down on the same topic. And we would tell you that this is true of all things. You see, you can watch your news and you can hear all the negativity that is going on, all the murders, all the terrible things that you are watching on the TV, you see, and then you can tell your friends about it. Yes. And this can become the stream of consciousness that you find yourself in. Did we ever stop and say for a minute that it was not true or that we were even caring whether it was true or not? But what you are doing is you are picking and choosing, and you are creating through your feelings, through your emotions, what it is you will experience in the life that you are experiencing, you see. So you can fill yourself with this type of stuff if you want to. And most people will say, well, it's true. And we'd say, well, it doesn't have to be. You don't have to put your focus there, and therefore you don't have to experience it if you don't spend your time dwelling upon it. And we don't want to do it in denial. We don't want to do it in opposing that it's true or not true. All we want to do is, I have this lovely focus. Yes, this is what I'm going to put it on, what I want. This is where I'm going to spend my time because this is what I know I want. This is how I want to feel. This is the way that I'm going to add to the universe that is me. I am not going to get into this right and wrong thing or in this justification thing that other humans are getting in. And all the while, we would tell you not feeling good as they are doing it. There's not a single one of you out there who are hollering at someone telling that they're eating poorly and they should be eating the way that you are eating that feel good as you're doing it, you see. And why is this? Because once again, you're trying to inject what you think into someone else's universe. And that's never going to work. All it's going to do is inject it into your own. Now you've become that very thing that you are arguing into someone. Now it's into you, you see.
Yes. Yeah. We, as our listeners know, we tend to do a lot of repeating of different subjects. Sometimes they're presented in a new way, but we feel it's important because the repetition helps you guys and us commit to learning and knowing and feeling the information more easily. So this next question is basically one that we've kind of addressed a little bit today and before, but I would like to zero in a little bit more on when you say, what do you mean, or what do you guys mean when you say we wouldn't have a negative emotion unless we were stuck somewhere? And I think this is where you're saying, ask ask your higher self, and you'll get the answers to why these things are occurring rather than falling into victimization. But what specifically, is there anything that you could offer someone other than asking? Is there other indicators in their life that they could look to, or is it just strictly a situation where they should be asking higher self, or is it just aligning in one area of their life and not in others, so they don't really recognize it to be an issue?
Yes. So what you're talking about really are maybe repeat experiences that a human is having, something unpleasant that, or they would deem as unpleasant, that they're really not understanding what the lesson is. Is this the question?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
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 Yes. There is never a time that when you recognize yourself, you and you. Yes, this is you as human, and then you in the higher source that is you. When you try to communicate to that high part of you and you call out to it and say, I am feeling negative, and I know that you are withdrawing from me. I know that you are moving away from me in the way that I am thinking, you see. So sometimes a human will be, let's say, in an argument. Yes, something occurs and they are arguing with someone, and there's lots of things going on in the exchange. And maybe the human will become angry, maybe they will become sad, dependent upon what it is that is within them. Yes, that will be what is ignited or brought up to them in the argument. So just to be a little bit clear about that, it would be different for every human. You see, the same argument could occur to many humans, and yet the response or the emotive response that they would have could be different depending upon what it is within them that becomes activated in it, you see. And so we're not arguing that they deserved to have the argument, or that the argument is their fault or isn't their fault. That's not what we're arguing. But what we are arguing is that when you feel a negative emotion, the way that you are thinking and feeling about something in that moment is going to bring something to yourself that your high self really would prefer that it didn't happen, or that you didn't have that happen, you see. So it notifies you by negative emotion to let you know, if you keep feeling that way during this argument, if you keep feeling sad, and that's what you admit, you are going to draw more sadness to yourself. You are not going to rectify this situation that is in front of you, or you are in fact creating more of them. And that is the reason for the negativity that you feel. So when you ask, how can I understand it? Or what am I to do to be better informed about what it is that is going on within me? We would tell you that what we really are pushing for here is for you to figure out a way to come into alignment, for you to soothe yourself, your human, with your source, to say, would you soothe me? Yes. Would you come and help me? Would you assist me in feeling better right now than what I am choosing to feel this, but I am not able to get out of it? I could use some help. If you would infuse me, I would appreciate it. Yes, we can't tell you. We've been getting responses from people. We did a very short recording and we said, you humans, you are forgetting the one most important thing, that when you are struggling, call out to your source. Ask. Mm-hmm. Ask. You're in sovereignty. You are creating on an island, let's call it the earth, by yourself. And you have to ask. Nothing is going to impose itself upon you without your free will or your asking for it, you see. And if you're struggling, when you recognize the high self and you call to it, it will come to you. And we had a girl actually email us separately and said, that is the single most useful tool that I've ever been given. Every time I find myself in a situation where I'm not liking the way that I feel, I call out to myself. I say, help me with this. It doesn't really matter. You can spend a lot of time digging around in your bags. We've told you this before. Or you can just decide to let the source come in and infiltrate you and clean out your system. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to know where it came from or identify exactly the source of the feeling that you have. And in fact, sometimes you may not even be able to do that, because it might be in your ancestry. It might be from a past life. It might not even belong to you. It's just something that you are, that's in you, or that you are experiencing. So this is the advice that we would give you, that the single most effective thing that you can do when you're not feeling good is recognize, I'm separating. I need some help. Come here and help me.
Mm-hmm. When you ask your high self, if you're feeling sad and you say, I need a little help. Can you infuse me?
Yes.
I know with a lot of things, you tell us that we have to have belief.
Yes.
Is that a situation that we have to believe, or we can, like, what if I was right now saying, you know, high self, I need you, infuse me, but I've never had the experience before, so I don't know for sure that it's actually going to work. Will it still come to me, or would I have to have a lot of belief to have it
Yeah.
come to me?
If you were in a totally not believing state, you'd have a very low vibratory level. You could be a long way away, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And so it might be difficult for you to get the immediate response or the immediate relief that you are looking for. Yes, we tell humans all the time that we talk about possibilities and probabilities, and then the actual coming in form, you see. And what is a possibility? A possibility is you just thinking about something in passing. And then we used a little example that a possibility would be if Robin said she liked a woman with brown hair. Yes. Didn't really think a lot about it, just noticed it. And perhaps maybe some ladies with brown hair would start showing up in her experience. It would be fine. Yeah. And then, but then what if her husband said to her, I like ladies with brown hair, and Robin doesn't have brown hair. Now she's got some emotion behind brown hair. Now it's not just a casual thought. Now it's a charged thought. It's a thought with some emotion packed. My husband would prefer a woman with brown hair, you see. And so now in this state, even though she's probably not wanting to run into women with brown hair, she's going to have a chance of a lot more of them coming. And the more that she notices this, the more they show up, and the more her husband notices it and points it out to her, the more belief she gets that he really likes women with brown hair, you see. And then as that belief comes, now the form is coming. Yes, now they're everywhere. And Robin wants to dye her hair brown, you see. So this is the analogy that we would like to give you of creation, is that at first it's kind of a notice or a passing thought, and then you start to pack a little emotion behind it, and then soon to follow, there's a belief. And once you get to that belief stage, it's very easy to see and form what it is that you have focused on, you see. So we would tell you that this is the same in calling for your high self. Yes. You could start by saying, I need little signs. Give me a sign. The yellow sweatshirt we talked about in another recording that Robin said, I want to see if I can manifest we told her manifest a yellow sweatshirt somewhere. And then the lady that was interviewing her showed up in a yellow sweatshirt. Yes. And made it kind of fun for her. So you can play games or little tricks with yourself to try to prove to yourself that there is a high part of you. There is. We're telling you there is. That you can play these little games and try to show yourself through asking for things that maybe aren't real big, that would build your belief a little bit. And then eventually, as you start to get these responses, more and more will become probable. And then eventually you will start to believe it. And then you will be able to receive that it is what you are asking for, you see.
Okay.
Yes. But
All
belief
right.
is a big boost, because when you've hit the belief stage, that is a really, that's when manifestation occurs very quickly, you see. And that's when you'll get that immediate pop in of your source, because you are in a line to it. When you're believing, you are excited, you are a creator, you are expectant, excited and expectant, yes. And this is a very high energy emanation, and this is a very close match to that which you are, you see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, my last question, I'm kind of surmising from just different conversations we've had, and I want to get your input on if I have it right or not. So, if there was like one thing that you would want humans to aspire to, would that thing be to be in your joy always or as much as humanly possible? Or would it be to perceive in love rather than fear? Or would it be something else? What would you say would be the number one thing that could make the biggest difference in a human experience?
The biggest change that can occur in a human experience is in the moment that they feel separation, which would be in the form of negativity or disconnection, yes, that they would choose how they were going to feel instead of becoming their tool and getting stuck in the experience. Because there's a lesson for you in all of it. And the lesson is you're here by yourself to some degree because you are all one thing. And you have to know that whatever you respond with, that is what is the return to you. It doesn't matter that you don't like the person, that you don't like the situation, that you wish you wouldn't have lost your money, that you are somehow finding yourself sick and don't feel you deserve it. It's the emanation of how you respond to that situation that is creating your now and creating your future. And you can never expect to have that wonderful life or the next life be that wonderful if you don't learn to do that. You have to, it's a process. And humans get stuck in the justification of, if you had this going on, you'd feel this way too. And we're not arguing that, but we're going to say again, if that is the choice that you go with, that is what the result will be then. More of that. You see. And so choosing. And in fact, when you say being in your joy, you will be in your joy when you choose this way. It'll be an automatic thing.
And you will also be coming from love rather than fear. So
absolutely,
both of those things then would be true.
Yes. Why does anybody in your masses adopt these headlines? If you drink a glass of wine, you're going to get cancer. If you don't exercise, blah, 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 and raise your heart rate to such a rate, so many times a week, you are done for. Yes. All of these things. And a human will say, well, it's true. It's true. It's true. They've done the studies and they found the masses to agree with it. And it doesn't matter, but one thing is for true. If you decide to agree to that, if you decide to go into that flow of consciousness of fear, and that is where you're going to pull from for your life, then this will be the outcome, or situations that are very similar to it, we could also add that, will be what will be in your future, you see. Or you can decide that no matter what it is that you experience, that you will know that perhaps it was in a lineage, perhaps it was from a past life, perhaps it was for the way that you thought in this life, but from this moment forward, now, in your now moment, I'm going to make a creation that I'm aware of, that I'm picking, and that I want. You see?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Athena, for all the good answers today. If anyone has any questions, comments, or would like to ever be on one of our YouTubes, you can always email me, Heidi, at athenaintruth.com. Any final words or thoughts from you?
We just want to thank everyone for joining us on our weekly broadcast that does. Yes, we are accumulating new members all the time. We would appreciate it if you would share it with anyone that you feel it would be a benefit to. We also have a free podcast on Anchor, Spotify, many different platforms. You can look it up under Athena in Truth. We do regular podcasts on there that are free, that our humans find a benefit in them because it helps to keep them on track, because they are experiencing contrast, and we're not saying it's easy. Yes, one has to be diligent and determined to create the life that they want to. So we just want to give you these options. We also want you to let you know that we are readily working on a course that we will be offering after the first of the year. We are not quite sure on the timing yet, but we're thinking it's going to be February or March, in that area. And we will be getting more details to you on that as it unfolds. We are grateful for your participation, and hope you have a good day.
Thank you. We'll see you all next week.